Gentlemen, please help me welcome the inspiring, uplifting, and very talented band.
Come on, you all know these great big sound songs. I love them, you love them, you know them, I know them. Come on, you gotta sing with me. Here we go. Come on. Oh yeah. Put your hands together. You're a proud old flag, you're a high flag, and we'll have her in peace. Hey, wave, you're the emblem of the land I love, the free and the brave. Every heart beats true to the red, white, and blue. But never story, and I'm going to perform our national anthem. You know, I walked across a county courthouse square. On a park bench, I saw an old man. He was sitting there. I said, "Your courthouse is kind of run down." He said, "Nah, it'll do for our little town." I said, "You know, flagpole, it's legal with, and that's a ragged old flag you got to hang on." He said, "Have a seat." And I sat down. He said, "This is the first time you've been to our little town?" I said, "I think it is." He said, "Well, we don't like to brag, but we're kind of proud of our ragged old flag. You see, we got a hole in that flag over there when Washington took it across the Delaware. And you know she got powder the night that Francis Scott Key sat watching her writing, 'Oh, say, can you see?' She got a big rip in New Orleans when Pakenham Jackson took it at her seams, and she almost fell at the Alamo beside the Texas flag. But then we were going home. She got cut with a sword at Chancellorsville, and she got cut again at Shiloh Hill. There was Robert E. Lee, Beauregard, and Bragg. And that south wind, she blew hard on a red old flag. On Flanders Field in World War I, she got a big hole from a birthday gun. She turned blood red in World War II, and she hung limp and low a time or two. She was in Korea, Vietnam, and now Afghanistan. She went where she was sent by her Uncle Sam. She waved on our ships upon the briny foam, and now you know they've almost done quit waving back here at home. In her own good land here, she has been abused. She's been burned, dishonored, denied, and refused, and the government for which she stands is sometimes scandalized throughout the land. She's been getting threadbare, and she's wearing thin. But she's in good shape for the shape she's in, because she's been through the fire before, and I believe that she can take a whole lot more. So we raise her up every morning, and we lower her down slow every night. We don't let her touch the ground, and we fold her up just right. You know, on second thought, I do like to brag, because I know we're all mighty proud of our ragged old flag. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of the United States of America, our Stars Spangled Banner. You know, there's so many wonderful patriotic songs that come right from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and I always like to tell the story because, you know, this next song came from a little place called North Andover, Massachusetts, and I found out way back in the day there's a young man by the name of Samuel Smith, you know, and this guy, Samuel Smith, he was so upset about the British fleet that when they bombed our nation's capital that he actually stole the British national anthem that you know to be God Save the Queen, and he changed the words, and for 100 years we were singing this song as our de facto national anthem. You know it so well. Sing with me now. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. And where my fathers died, let all pilgrims pride from every mountain side, let free that also comes from Massachusetts. I told the story before every Boston Marathon because this was also written by a young lady. And this young lady was one of the first literary professors at the great Wellesley College. And you see, she was on sabbatical, on vacation. She traveled this great nation. She made it all the way out to Colorado, to the Rocky Mountains, to Pikes Peak. And would you know, in 1893, she climbed this mountain, Pikes Peak, on the back of a mule. She got on top of the mountain. She looks back over this nation. She is so moved by everything that she saw. She wrote a poem. That poem was put to music. It is so beloved, many people think that this song should actually be our national anthem. If you go down to Cape Cod, Falmouth, Massachusetts, in front of the public library, there's a beautiful statue of this young lady in her honor. Her name is Catherine Lee Bates, and she's the one who wrote America the Beautiful. Everybody knows this. Sing with me, please. Here we go. Now you heard in my bio there that the first time I ever got to sing with the Great Boston Pops was when I was invited by Harold Dixon, Kitty Dukakis' dad, to sing America the Beautiful on the occasion of its 100th anniversary. That's how this whole singing trooper thing got started, you know. I didn't name myself. I was named by Governor Dukakis. He called me the singing trooper. But anyway, you know, because of this, I got very passionate about America the Beautiful. Now, I told you the story about the young lady who wrote the poem, but what most people do not realize is that in the beginning, that poem was attached to a different piece of music. In the beginning, America the Beautiful sounded a little bit different. What I like to do is a demonstration. I'm going to sing for you how America the Beautiful used to sound in the beginning with its original tune. I want to see if anybody can guess what was the original tune attached to the poem America the Beautiful. Now, I will give you a hint. The original tune is a famous Scottish folk hymn. Sue did in fact guess the original tune is Auld Lang Syne. And now, well, Sue, you have to sing it with me. Oh yes, oh yes. Old acquaintance, he was gone, true story of American Beauty. You know, if they decided to keep Old Lang Syne as the original tune, I don't know what we'd be singing on midnight New Year's Eve. But anyway, you know, I was very blessed to have been introduced to music when I was just a little boy. And my parents, who were scientists, not musicians, they sat me in the front row of all these musicals, you know, so I'm 5 years old, I'm learning all this stuff. And you know, I got to listen to, I think, the greatest playwrights of all time. You know them so well, Rodgers and... Oh yeah. Now, Rodgers and Hammerstein, they wrote a show about our men and women who served a long way away. You all know the show, it's called South Pacific. And in this show, you can just imagine, you can just hear in your voice the great Enzio Pizza singing Some Enchanted Evening, or This Nearly Was Mine, or maybe Mary Margaret dancing down the beach, you know, gotta wash that man right out of my hair, or maybe Bloody Mary singing Valley High, you know. But in this particular show, there is a choral number that's done by all the sailors. Now, I have to set the scene for you. All the sailors just got done seeing the nurses run by them on the beach for their morning exercise. And all the sailors are sitting back on the beach, and everybody knows what they're all thinking, you know? And then they go in to sing this unbelievable choral number. Now, like I said, this is supposed to be done by about 20 sailors. I'm going to try to do this one all by myself, so we'll see here. We got sunlight on the sand, we got moonlight on the sea, we got mangoes and bananas you can pick right off a tree. We got volleyball and ping pong and a lot of dandy games. What have we got? We get packages from home, we get movies, we get shows, we get speeches from our skipper, and advice from Tokyo Rose. We get letters down for the playfield, we get dizzy from the smell. What don't we get? No done well. We got nothing to put on a clean white suit for. What we need, there ain't no slots to tune for. There ain't nothing like a day, nothing in the world. There ain't nothing you can name that is anything like a day. We feel restless, we feel blue, we feel lonely and in grief. We feel every kind of feeling, with a feeling of relief. We feel hungry as the wolf felt when he met Red Riding Hood. What don't we feel? We don't feel good. Lots of things in life are beautiful, but brother, there's one particular thing that's nothing but any way, shape, or form like any other. There ain't nothing like a day, nothing in the world. There ain't nothing you can name that is anything like a day. Nothing else is built the same, nothing in the world has a soft and wavy friend like a silhouette of a day. Absolutely nothing like the frame of a day. So suppose they may cry, completely free from laws, or as faithful as a bird dog, or as kind as Santa Claus. It's a waste of time to worry about things that they have not. Be thankful for the thing they've got. There is nothing like a day, nothing in the world. There is nothing you can name that is anything like a day. There are no books like a day, and nothing looks like a day. There are no drinks I had an occasion to serve, like many of you, in my United States Marine Corps, which I'm very proud of. Now, to become a United States Marine, they send you down to a little place called Parris Island, South Carolina. And down in Parris Island, South Carolina, the friendly drill instructors make sure every day is full of fun and adventure. But, you know, there's 1 hour every week when you have peace. And during that 1 hour, it's on Sunday. And that's when everybody is recommended that they go to chapel or church and pray in any denomination they wish. Now, the thing about it is that everybody went to church. Why? Because for that 1 hour, the drill instructors were not allowed to mess with you. It was almost as if the hand of God was over top of the chapel as a force field, you know? And you could see them outside circling back and forth like a pack of hungry wolves, you know? You may be gods now, but I'll get you in about an hour. We would end up every service with a song you may know one of two ways. You may know it as Eternal Father, but it's really the Navy hymn. Now, many of you who have not served in the Navy or the Marine Corps, you may say, why down on Parris Island are you singing the Navy hymn? Well, as you know, the United States Marine Corps is deep in naval tradition. We were created as security on naval vessels. We are under the Department of the Navy, and all the Navy men will never let us forget that. But however, this song you may know as Eternal Father has 14 verses. This guy who wrote this song wrote a verse for every single service, whether you're in the air, under the water, on the water, in space. It's incredible. Take the time, Google it, look at all the verses. I'm going to sing, with I hope with your help, I'm going to sing the verse that you guys know, and then I'm going to sing the one that was written for the United States Marine Corps. Once again, the Navy hymn. Many of you know when you serve in the United States military, you get sent around to very interesting places. You may go abroad, you may serve in Europe, you may serve in Asia, wherever you may. But you know, once I graduated and became a United States Marine, they wanted me to learn electronics. So they sent me to a place that I had never been to before. It was the great state of Tennessee, Naval Air Station Millington.
and they wanted me to learn how to keep those big helicopters flying. So I was spending some time in the great city of Memphis, Tennessee, and I had, some time off one Sunday morning, and I wanted to go see some sights because Millington was just outside the great city of Memphis, Tennessee. So I go down to Memphis, Tennessee, and I found myself a mansion. And that mansion had its own name. It was called Graceland. And I come to find out that the young man who lived in Graceland was known as Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. And then I come to find out that Elvis was a United States veteran just like me. I come to find out that the United States Army drafted the king of rock and roll into service. Now you might think they would take the king, make him a captain or a major, something like that. Oh no, sir. Private Elvis Presley. And then you might think that they would take the king of rock and roll and put him in a USO show, maybe entertain the troops. Oh no. They put him in the artillery division, in the tank corps, and they sent him over to Germany. Well, I get to meet a lot of folks who actually served with the king of rock and roll, and they tell me stories. And the two stories they tell me is, first of all, Elvis was the nicest, most humble man you ever wanted to meet. If you were out on maneuvers with Elvis and you didn't know Elvis was there, you wouldn't know Elvis was there because they never made a big hubbub about it. He wanted to be treated just like every other GI. As a matter of fact, they would always try to get him to sing concerts. And Elvis was adamant about not singing. He would look at the generals, he's like, "No, sir, I'm just here to serve my country, just like any other GI." So he wasn't singing. But one time, one of his buddies says to me, "Dan," that's my first name, Dan, says, "Dan, one time Elvis sang us a song. Guess what song he said?" I said, "I don't know. He made Blue Suede Shoes." "Oh, sugar, hound dog?" No. Elvis sang for us, "Look at that doggy in the window." I said, "No way." He says, "Way." I said, "Do you have a recording of that?" He says, "No." And so I can only imagine, the great Elvis Presley, "How much is that dog in the window? The one with the waggly tail. How much is that doggy in the window? I do know that doggy is for sale." I don't know, something like that. He got out though, and he made a movie about a kind servant in the United States Army. He called that movie GI Blues, I don't know. Give me a honey old creek in Texas, and But you know, many of you see how I'm dressed here. A lot of people ask me, what is this outfit? And you see, I perform a lot with pipe bands. And this is actually the outfit that Scottish pipe bands wear, minus the kilt. Yeah, it's hard for me to do Elvis within a kilt, but you know, all the Scots will look at me and they'll say, you know, son, you're not wearing your kilt, you know, you're out of uniform. But there are so many incredible bands, and I have to make a confession that when I was growing up, I grew up in another state south of here. It was called Delaware, where my father was a professor of genetics at the university. And you know, when I was growing up in Delaware, I did not know anything at all about Irish or Celtic music. It wasn't until I came up here, I became a trooper, that people recommended that I learn Irish music, you know. And the reason I know Irish music is because I learned songs for gravesides. Now this sounds very sad, but the truth of the matter is, I remember every single person that I learned an Irish song for. The very first one I ever learned, not the one you probably think. A buddy of mine in the state police came up to me and says, Dan, you know, my grandma passed away, and I'd be so happy if you would sing her most favorite song. It's called Galway Bay, because that's where she was from. So every time I sing Galway Bay, I think of my buddy, and I think of his grandma. And, you know, also, some of these songs that I get asked to learn aren't the ones that you would normally think. There was the great politician out of the city of Everett. His name was Edward Conley, Representative Edward Conley. Everybody loved Edward Conley, you know. And he passed away, and his family come up to me. They say, you know, Sarge, will you sing at Representative Conley's graveside? I go, it would be my honor. What would you like me to sing? Amazing Grace, Danny Boy? They said, no, we'd like you to sing Harrigan. I said, Harrigan? At a graveside? He said, no, you don't understand. He loved being Irish. Every time he won an election, every time he had a political fundraiser, he was up on the stage just singing Harrigan to beat the band. He would just change the words from H-A-R-R-I, Harrigan, to Connolly, C-O-N-N-E. So wherever he was. Now, there are some many great bands, and I love to sing this one. I bet someone is here with the same last name. One of my favorite, come on, put your hands together. Oh, my name is McNamara, I'm the leader of the band. Oh, what I'm doing numbers, the finest in the land. We play wicks and weddings and in every fancy hall. And when we play the whole of us, they'll play the moms. All the drums go bang, the cymbals bang, the music plays away. God, they put it all, and I, the first to play. And Tennessee, the music is something that my glad called Ireland is McNamara's band. Right now we are listening for the very sons of man. Yet you'll select on, that you will be there. General back to where the king took me by the hand. He said, I never saw the likes of McNamara's band. It was a band. Oh, what a band. That was the finest in the land. Oh, what a band. Oh, what a band. Give the cheers for McNamara. Oh, we gave the song for Lucas and the speed and I to play McNamara's band and play that big drum. Keep your marching down the street, the ladies in your band. They say there's a full roots like with the guys. Oh, the drums go bang, the cymbals bang, the hearts and plays away. Now they put it all to the night, the place to play. Tennessee, the music is on the match. My political Ireland is McNamara's band. Oh, it's a band. Oh, what a band. And it's the finest in the land. Oh, what a band. Oh, what a band. Cheers for McNamara. Oh, what a bunch of sharks. My uniform is green, and I'm the finest that you Constance, Connie, she'd look at me all serious like, and she'd say, "Oh, Danny, boy. Oh, Danny." I didn't get it. I was a blockhead. It wasn't until I became a trooper and I first learned this from a fallen police officer on Cape Cod. I say it at happy and sad occasions, you know. And as a matter of fact, after I appeared with the Boston Pops, I got invited to go out to California, and I actually sang a duet version of Danny Boy with Donny Osmond on the show. Great fun. But, you know, I've been telling the story about Danny Boy for many, many years. And I had an Irish historian come up to me and say, "You know, Dan, you're telling the story all wrong." I said, "Okay, please enlighten me." He says, "Well, in Irish tradition and in Irish lore, when the pipes would echo down the valley and over the glen, it was time for the eldest man of the family to go fight the battle. And in this song, if Danny Boy is the eldest man of the family, it would follow that the grandfather and the father has since passed away. And that this song is really intended for a mother who is standing with her eldest son, Danny, sending him off to battle. Now, many of you have seen me and my wife perform in the past, and you know we have our own Danny Boy. And we always dedicate this song to him, but now this song has taken on a new meaning for us. Because you see, earlier this year, at the end of June, our young Danny Boy was taken down to a little place in Annapolis, Maryland, known as the United States Naval Academy. Our son is now a midshipman at the United States Naval Academy, where he represents Navy as a gymnast. So if you're watching the NCAA championships later this spring and you see a good-looking kid who takes after his mother, that's Danny. But even though I sing this for my own Danny Boy, I offer this song to all of you. For all those folks that you hold so deep in your hearts and wish could be here with you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, I offer you the Irish classic, Oh Danny Boy.
The pipes are calling. service, and you know I'll know my hymn from the halls of Montezuma to the shores of... Oh, now, come on. To the shores of... Oh, yeah. If you serve in the United States Army, you may know your hymn to be caissons go rolling along. They changed the word just a little bit. It's now called Army First to Fight, but the tune caissons still the same. If you serve in the United States Navy, your hymn has always been anchors. No, that will not do. Anchors. Okay, if you serve in the United States Air Force or Army Air Corps, a long time ago, your hymn has always been Wild Blue. Outstanding. Now, in addition, there's a group of men and women who not only guard our shores, but they are deployed to combat venues all over the world. Their hymn is Semper Paratus. I'm talking about the United States Coast Guard. And finally, there is a group of men and women who were long forgotten until an act of Congress in 1988 ordered that they will also be recognized as veterans, the men and women of the United States Merchant Marines. You see, they were pressed into service to take our boys overseas. Supplies, boots, bullets, bandages, many times they were sunk by enemy submarines right off the coast of North Carolina. Well, they have a hymn also. It's called Heave Ho, My Lads, Heave Ho. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would respectfully request, when I sing your hymn, if you have served, if you've had a family member who has served, if you've been married to a serviceman or servicewoman, please. I know it's tough for many people to stand. You don't have to stand up. When I sing your hymn, put your paw in the air so I can properly recognize you, okay? The order of service hymn is going to be the Merchant Marines, the Coast Guard, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and then, well, the United States Marine Corps. You guys ready?
Yep.
I'll take a sir, yes, sir. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Sir, yes.
Do I have any Merchant Marines on deck? Merchant Marines, anybody? Heave-ho, my lads, heave-ho. It's a long, long way to go. It's a long, long pull. With the hatches full, baby the wind, baby the sea, when it adventure us for. Heave-ho, my lads, heave-ho. Though the seas blow high and low. Oh,
Seabees. Outstanding. Any other Seabees? You see, when I sing my military hymn, many times I will not sing the Seabees song, and if there's a representative of the Seabees, they come up to me and they say, "Son, you didn't sing my song." I'm so sorry, what you saw was Seabees. Oh, Navy Seabees, anchors away. No. We have our own song, you learn it. Yes, sir. So I went out, I learned, it's okay, I learned the Seabees song, 2 verses, and I found out a long time ago, the very first time this song was performed was by the great Armed Forces Orchestra on the RKO Radio Network. And the very first great entertainer to ever perform the song of the Seabees was none other than Judy Garland.
I feel pretty good.
Just a few minutes. When the Seabees are Navy, oh, we can build and we can fight. We'll pave a way to victory and guard it day and night. And we'll promise that we'll remember the 7th of December. Oh, when the Seabees are Navy, the bees of the 7th sea. The Navy wanted men, that's where we came in. Mr. Brown, Mr. Jones, the oath, the code, the Flynn. The Navy wanted more of Uncle Sammy's kin, so we all joined up and brothered to win. With the Seabees of the Navy, the Kendall Man Green. In the war and peace you'll find us ready on the sea. And no matter what the mission, with the peace we'll keep tradition. With Seabees of the Navy, the bees of the 7 seas, the bees of the 7 seas. Now,
They work during Navy.
I don't want to keep you folks here all afternoon, so I am going to wind it down. But you know, there's some incredible songs, and I hope you come see me perform around Memorial Day sometime when I really bring out a couple of these very, very powerful songs. But you know, this next song, I was asked to learn by a friend of mine who I served with in the state police. He was known as Captain Pacino. And he was a great man, and I loved serving with him. And, well, his son joined up like many young men and women did after September 11th. And his son was killed in action. And I now support their family because, you see, not only did he join the Army, he joined the best of the Army. He became a Green Beret. And to this day, they raise money and they support the Green Beret Foundation for all those things that the government doesn't do. They help build houses. They buy specially created wheelchairs that look like tanks to get them around. But when I go to one of these events, of course, they ask for the national anthem, but they say, "Dan, if you wouldn't mind, out of tribute to our son, if you would sing that famous song that was done by Staff Sergeant Sadler, you know it as the Ballad of the Green Beret." Soldiers from the sky, these are men who jump and die. brave men of the Green Beret. Silver wheels upon their chests. These are men, America's best. 100 men were left today, but only 3 were back at home. A young wife waits. The Green Beret has met his fate. He has died, all suppressed, leaving her his last request. With silver wings on my son's chest, make him one of America's best. There'll be a man they'll test one day, have him win the Green Beret. Before I go today, we're gonna have a little bit of fun. You see, I've been performing in a little place called America's Most Beloved Ballpark, Fenway Park. This year I was actually performed there for the first game of the ALDS. I performed there for the first game of the ALCS. And the only reason I wasn't there for the big game is I was literally down, believe this one, performing for the Miami Dolphins.
All right. Oh, well.
But,
Can't win them all.
You know, I take the greatest pride in performing our national anthem. Many times I sing foreign national anthems. Many times I'll sing "O Canada." Sometimes they'll bring in Irish hurlers from Ireland, Galway versus Dublin. I'll sing the Irish anthem to them in Gaelic.
All right.
Many times I sing at the 7th inning stretch a song that was written by the great Irving Berlin, made famous by the great Kate Smith.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know it is "God Bless America." And you know, when I take the field to sing this song, my wife, who's an opera singer, she says to me, "Dan, I want you to be careful when you go out on the field tonight, because I'm afraid you might actually hurt yourself." That's because I hold the high note so long at the end. And this is what I tell my wife, Mary. I say, "Mary, if I should go out onto that field tonight, and I should drop, and my heart should stop, while I'm singing 'God Bless America' at Fenway Park for the Boston Red Sox during the World Series, no less, I don't want anyone to shed a tear for me, because I will have been the happiest of men." Before we get into "God Bless America," I do want to offer you another song that requires a little bit of audience participation. It was done by a little-known entertainer. You may have never heard of him, Neil Diamond. It's a very famous song. I'm going to need your help doing this, okay? Here we go.
I can't begin to know when, still I know it's going strong. Was the spring, and spring became the summer. Who would believe you come along? Oh, man, the hand gone, reach out. Oh, touching me, touching you. Oh, sweet Caroline, good time never seemed so good. Oh, I've been in mine. Could we